Hello everyone and welcome to Butterfly Dreams Crochet. My name is Jeannie and today is Friday, September the 9th, 2022. And we are going to be making this beautiful mandala together. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very easy. If you are a beginner crocheter, you can do this as well. So, let me welcome each and every one of y'all to the Butterfly Squad, to the Butterfly family. Grab you some yarn of your choice, a 5.0 millimeter hook, some scissors, a darning needle, and a tape measure if you want to measure how wide it is. This one measures about 12 inches, about 12 1/4 inches from picot to picot. Now this yarn, I'm not sure what the colorway is or what yarn this is. It feels like Peaches and Cream or Lily Sugar and Cream. I do know this is Lily Sugar and Cream in the color Jute that you see here, right here. That is the color Jute. So I love how it works up more so than I do the I Love This cotton from Hobby Lobby, because it's so soft. And to me, the more stiffer, more rough feel cotton is better for stuff like this, and that's just my personal opinion. I did enjoy working with this yarn. I did not have issues with splitting or none of that stuff. Gives really good stitch definitions, as you can see. And this was the one that I made testing the design out, making sure that the stitches that I was choosing would actually work wonderful and it would give it a nice look to it as well. So it was a lot of ripping out and going back and forth, but hey, I got it nailed down to a T now. So that was my little test. Now I will use this in my house somewhere along in one of my rooms. Now these are the ones that I made in the fall colors. Now these measure 13 inches. I used a 5 millimeter hook, and it could be that I crocheted looser with this yarn because of it being a softer texture. I do find myself crocheting tighter with the Peaches and Cream yarn. Now this is what we're going to use in today's tutorial. It's called Oasis. It's Peaches and Cream. You can get this at your local Walmart if they sell it. Mine does carry this. And I think it's perfect for the fall and autumn as well, because you have these darker hues of brown, like a terracotta color, and then you have your olive green. So I think it represents fall pretty good. And we're going to work with it today just so we can get an idea of exactly how much yarn you need to complete one of these. Now in this one I did change colors. I used 3 separate colors. This is I Love This yarn from I Love This cotton from Hobby Lobby. My first 4 rounds I worked it in Harvest Hues. Then I switched over to gold and did 2 rows of gold. Then I switched over to sage and did 2 rows of sage. Then I went back to my Harvest Hues. Then I finaled out with gold. This is a 13 round mandala. Does not take that long to make it. I wanted to make it where it was beautiful but easy and quick to work up. I've made another one using the same skeins, and I have started a 3rd one, and I do have plenty of yarn to finish the 3rd one, plus I'll have enough to start a 4th one. So for I Love This yarn, I Love This cotton, I'm going to say that you need at least 2 skeins of each color to be able to complete 4 or more. So you probably could get about 7 mandalas out of 2 skeins of each color that you choose. Now if you're going to use more than 3 colors, you wouldn't need that much. And it just depends on what rows you decide to use your colors with, because the more stitches you have, like here and here, the more yarn you're going to use, especially on the border as well. So I've made 2, working on a 3rd, and I should have enough to start a fourth one. Now I don't need to run to Hobby Lobby and grab no more yarn because I've got plenty. Now this one is a request by Chastity. She wanted me to make her some for her dining room table in her colors that she's got in her dining room, which is like a sea foam. With this is actually aqua. This was the closest to like a sea foam that I could get. Then this is oh, I don't remember the name of it. I got it right here though. That is khaki. And then the lighter one is parchment, and then this one is brown. So as you can see, I did 4 colors on this one. I worked 3 rows in the aqua color, then I worked 3 rows in the khaki, then I did only 2 rows in the parchment, and I did 2 rows in the brown, and then I finaled with 3 rows in the aqua. And I really love how this turned out. And will be making her 3 more. And I'm going to keep the same color pattern. So I'll start with the aqua, go to the khaki, then the parchment, the brown, and the aqua. So I'll keep the same color pattern. But as you see, 4 color changes, you're still not going to use as much yarn as if you use just 3 colors, because you're obviously using more of each color by only using 3. So if y'all are ready to get started on this, I'm going to pause this video, bring my camera a little bit down closer to the table, and grab my hook, get my yarn ready. And I will be using a 5.0 today, my clover hook. I have my little Dollar Tree scissors, and I also have my darning needle right here. Now I really like these needles. You get multiples in a pack. They're extra long, but they have the right point to them that you can get between the fibers, because when you're weaving in ends, especially with cotton, if you split those fibers just a little bit, it's like gives it teeth and it grabs that yarn. So, and it's got a big eye too, which is something that I definitely need. So I have that as well. So let me pause right quick and get everything set up, and I'll meet y'all back down at the table. Alright, so again, like I said, I will be using this Peaches and Cream Original in the color Oasis. I think it is perfect for the fall with the little colors that it has in there. And I've got several other colors that I want to match up with it, just for the what I consider the border. The last 3 rows is the border of it, instead of doing it all in this one color. Okay, and what I have chose is the Peaches and Cream in the color Dark Taupe, or we can pull in this Sage Green and pair it with it as well. So we will see. So we want to start with a magic circle. Let me get a little bit more light to the table. There we go. So we're going to start with a magic circle. Now y'all make y'all's magic circle whichever way y'all are used to. And we're going to, I do a slip stitch and kind of move that hook back and forth to get it snug to the magic circle. Chain 1. And we are going to work 8 single crochets into this magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I always count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I got 8 single crochets. Now I'm going to pull that tail tight. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of that very first single crochet. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet into that same space that we just slipped into. Make sure you go back into that space and not your next single crochet. And I will be working over that tail on this round. And we're going to work a double crochet. And that is going to count as our first double crochet cluster. So now we're going to chain 2, 1, and 2. We're going to go into the next single crochet and we're going to work a 2 double crochet cluster. And that is done by working 2 double crochets together. So we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. We got 3 loops on our hook. We'll chain over and pull through 2. We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to insert right back into that same single crochet and pull up a loop. And we're going to wrap our yarn, pull through 2. We now have 3 loops on our hook and we are going to pull through all 3. Chain 2. Wrap your yarn, find your next single crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, and stop. Wrap your yarn around your hook, insert into the same single crochet, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, and then wrap and pull through all 3. So that is our repeat all the way around, and we're going to work our chain 2 and then our 2 double crochet cluster in every single crochet around with a chain 2 in between each cluster. Continue, and when we get here to our last single crochet, I will meet you at the end. Okay, so I've come up to the end. It actually looks like we have 2 stitches remaining, but we don't. We only have this 1 single crochet here. This is where we slip stitched into the first single crochet, and you don't want to work in that. If you do, then you're going to be increasing. So I've chained 2. I'm going to insert into that last single crochet, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap my yarn around my hook, go right back into that single crochet, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, and pull through all 3. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain from our beginning chain 3. Just like that. And you should have 8 chain 2 spaces and 8 2 double crochet clusters. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're going to chain 3, and we are going to work 3 double crochets into that chain 2 space, and the chain 3 at the beginning of every row does count as a double crochet. We're going to work into the top of this cluster, which is going to be your first stitch right here, because these 2 are chain 2s. So work a double crochet, skip all that, and work into the chain 2 space 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, insert into the top of your cluster and work a double crochet, go into the next chain 2 space and work 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3, into the top of the next cluster, a double crochet, That is what you're going to repeat all the way around, and when we get to our last chain 2 space, I will meet y'all at the end. Okay, so I've worked my 3 double crochets in my next to the last chain 2 space right here. Now I'm going to work my double crochet on top of that next cluster, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets in the very last chain 2 space. In our first chain 3, counted as our first double, which is our double at the very first cluster, and that's what you should look like at the end of row 3. So we did our 8 single crochets in our magic circle. Then we worked a 2 double crochet cluster in every single crochet around, separated by a chain 2 space. Then we joined with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. We chained 3. Then we moved to the next chain 2 space and we worked 3 doubles. We worked a double in the top of every cluster, and we put 3 double crochets in every chain 2 space. You should have 32 double crochets. Okay, so now we're going to move on to row 4, and row 4 is going to be an easy row. We will chain 3 for our first double crochet plus 1 for our chain 1 space. So you're going to chain up 4. 3 counts as your first double, and the 4th one counts as your chain 1 space. We're going to work a double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, work a double crochet into the top of the next double crochet, and this will be our repeat all the way around. Chain 1, work a double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, work a double in the next double crochet. So continue working 1 double crochet in every double crochet around with a chain 1 space in between, and I'll meet you when I get to my next to the last double crochet. Okay, so I made it to my last double crochet. I've chained 1. I will work 1 double crochet into the last double crochet, chain 1. Now you want to make sure that you still have 32 double crochets in 32 chain 1 spaces. So let's just count them right quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, and 32. I've made my last chain 1 stitch. We're going to join to the 3rd chain because we have to have that chain 1 for our space. And this is what it should look like at the end of row 5. Now row 5, we're working with the 3 double crochet clusters on the next round. So we want to slip stitch into our very first chain 1 space, chain 3, and we're going to work 2 double crochets into here, but we're not finishing them off. So wrap your yarn around your hook, insert into the chain 1 space, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2. You have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap your yarn around your hook, go back into that same space, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2. You now have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap and pull through all 3. Chain 1. Go into the next space and work 3 double crochet clusters. Yarn over your hook, insert into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2. Wrap, go back into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2. Wrap your yarn around your hook, go into the next chain, the same chain space, pull up a loop, wrap, and pull through 2 loops. You have 4 loops on your hook, and wrap and pull through all 4. Chain 1. Wrap your yarn, go into the next chain 1 space, and pull up a loop. Wrap, pull through 2. Wrap your yarn around your hook, going right back into that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2. One more time, wrap your yarn around your hook, same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, wrap, pull through 2, 4 loops on your hook, wrap, and pull through all 4. You'll chain 1 and you'll complete this process all the way around, and I will meet you when I get back here to my next to the last chain 1 space. Okay, so I made it to my very last chain 1 space. I've worked my 3 double crochet cluster. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work my last 3 double crochet cluster in that very last chain 1 space, just like that. Chain 1, and we're going to join at the top of that cluster right there, and that completed row 5. See, I love how this yarn works up compared to I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby. It works up a lot better to me. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to work a V-stitch in the top of every cluster around. 1 V-stitch. And a V-stitch is done by a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the stitch at the top of our clusters, which is identified by that one. So, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That counts as our first double crochet in our chain 1, and go right back into that same stitch with a double crochet, just like that. Skip to the next cluster, work 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. Go to the next cluster, work 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. And that is all we're doing. Next cluster, 1 double, chain 1, and 1 double. We're working a V-stitch in the top of every cluster all the way around, and I'll meet y'all when we get to the last cluster. Okay, so I made it to my last cluster, and I'm going to work my last V-stitch on top of that last 3 double crochet cluster from the row below. And I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the 3rd chain, because remember, we got to have that chain 1 for our space. And we are now at the end of row 6. End of row 6. Now what we're going to do is repeat row 5. So we're going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space of our first V-stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in the same space. So wrap your yarn, insert into that chain 1 space, pull up a loop, pull through 2, route, insert back into that same space, pull up a loop, route, pull through 2, route, pull through all 3 loops. We just made our first 3 double crochet cluster. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, and 2, skip these next 2 double crochets, and that's our chain 1 space. So we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster in that chain 1 space, pull through 2, route, go back in that same chain 1 space, pull up a loop, route, pull through 2, route, go back into the same space, pull up a loop, route, pull through 2. You should have 4 loops on your hook, route, and pull through all 4. Chain 2. And we're going to just repeat this process all the way around working 3 double crochet clusters in every chain 1 space between our V's, separated by a chain 2. Continue working like that all the way around, and I'll meet you when I get to my last chain 1 of my V-stitch of the row below. Okay, so I'll work my last 3 double crochet clusters of my V-stitch. Chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of that cluster stitch, just like that. And we just completed row 7. Row 8 is an easy row. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to work 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. 1 double crochet into the top of our cluster stitch. 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. 1 double crochet on top of the cluster. So basically what we're repeating now is row 3, just on a little larger scale. So continue working 1 double crochet in the top of your cluster, 3 double crochets in every chain 2 space, and I'll meet you when we get around to the end. Alright, so I've made it to my last space here. I've worked my 3 doubles and my 1 double crochet on top of my space there. Okay, so we're going to work 3 double crochets into our last space. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that 3rd double crochet, chain 3. And you should have 128 double crochets at the end of round 8. Now we're moving on to row 9, which is a real easy row. We're going to chain 3. That counts as our first double crochet, plus 2 for our chain 2 space, so for a total of 5 chains. We're going to skip 1, 2, and in that 3rd double crochet we're going to work a double crochet. Chain 2, skip 2, and work a double crochet in the next double crochet. And this will be our repeat all the way around. Chain 2, skip 2, and double crochet in the next double crochet. So continue with your chain 2, skip 2, and double crochet in the next double crochet until you get here to your last at the beginning of your row, and I'll meet y'all there. Okay, so we're at the end of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th row. You only have 1 stitch left, and that's fine. Chain 2 and slip stitch into that 3rd chain from our first chain 5. Now this will, like it wants to curl up some, but it will all lay flat in the end, so don't worry about that. Now the next row is going to be really simple. We're going to slip stitch into our chain 2 space, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work 2 double crochets into that chain 2 space. So 1 and 2. Our chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so we have 3 double crochets into that space. We're going to skip that double crochet, and we're going to work 3 doubles in every chain 2 space all the way around. So continue putting 3 double crochets in every chain 2 space all the way around, and I will meet y'all at the end. Alright, I finished row 10, and you see it lays flat. I'm at my last, I've worked my 3 double crochets in my last chain 2 space, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that 3rd chain. And we have completed row 10, and I'm going to show y'all what I have left. This is what I have left. I don't think it's enough to do the next row, but we're going to try it and see, because I want to get a pretty accurate of what I need. And row 11 is going to be an easy row. We're going to slip stitch over to the space in between our 3 double crochets. So right here, we're going to slip stitch. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to work a single crochet in the space between those 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, single. 1, 2, 3, skip 3 doubles, go in the between them and work a single. 1, 2, 3, skip those 3 in the space between, single. 1, 2, 3, and single. 1, 2, 3, and single. So continue working in that fashion all the way around, where you work chain 3, skip 3 doubles, go in the space between the next 3 doubles and work a single. Now I'll meet y'all at the end. Alright, so I've worked my chain 3 with a single crochet in between each 3 double crochets. And now I've worked my last chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into that first slip stitch that we did. Just like that. Now this is what I have left out of the one cake right here. So I am going to change colors to finish row 12 and 13. So you can get 11 rounds of this mandala with one of these 98 yard 95 yards of yarn. So for this one, I'm gonna pull in my sage green, and I'm gonna work 12 and 13 using the sage green. So if you get 4 of those, if you need to make 4, you would need to get 4 of those little cakes of 95 yards. Now the sage green has 120 yards. So you can make 4 mandalas using the same colors out of 4 skeins of a 95 yard little ball and one 120 ball thing of yarn. So I am going to back this out, insert my hook back into that last stitch there, find the tail end of my yarn, lay it across my hook, and finish that off like that. Now I am going to just snug this like this to secure it, and I'm going to cut my main color off, leaving a long tail to weave in. So now what we're going to do is chain 1 and slip stitch over into that space, chain 3 space, chain 3, and we're going to work 7 double crochets into that chain 3 space. So that is 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, just like that. So 2, 4, 6, 7. We're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. Nope, 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 nope. We're going to single crochet into the next chain 3 space. Skip that next single crochet and work 7 doubles into the next chain 3 space. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Single crochet in the next chain 3 space and work 7 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Single crochet in the next chain 3 space, and that will be your repeat all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get over here next to the end. Keep going. Alright, so I made it back here to my last shell. Now we don't have a space here for a chain 3, so what we're going to do is just slip stitch right into the top of that very first double crochet, just like that. And now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to slip stitch into the 4th double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch. Chain 3, slip stitch right back into that same space, and that's what forms your little picot, just like that. Chain 3 and slip stitch into that single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch into the 4th double crochet of our 7 double crochet shell. Chain 3, slip stitch back into that same double crochet, and that made our picot. Chain 3, slip stitch into the next single crochet. Chain 3, slip stitch into the 4th double crochet. Chain 3, and slip stitch into the next in the same stitch. Continue that all the way around, and I'll meet y'all when we get to the end. Alright, so I made it to the end, and I've worked my last picot. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to slip stitch into that first chain 3 where I did the slip stitch, and chain 1 and cut my yarn, and we are done with the mandala. Weave in your ends. Now I weave some. I only got 2 because I did not change my yarn, and I worked over that one, so I can go ahead and cut this one. So I got these to weave in and that one to weave in, and we are done with the perfect for fall mandala. I'm gonna weave my ends in off camera, and I'll meet y'all when I get that done. Alright, so this is the mandala that we just made. I hope y'all like it. I love it. And you can pull your little picots and make them more pointed if you want to. Just pull out on them. That's all you have to do. just like that. Just helps define them. So we know one 95-yard little cake will get you 11 rounds, and I used the sage, and that's how much I have left, which will probably get me through maybe 3 or 4, and that's 120 yards. So I hope y'all enjoy this tutorial. Share this video out if you would like to. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you don't mind. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. And until next time, remember to be kind to one another. Always smile. And remember, if you don't have anything nice to say, then just don't say nothing at all. Keep crocheting. Keep knitting. Whatever your craft is, continue doing it. And make sure that everything you do, you put all your effort into it. And happy crocheting. Bye bye, y'all.